What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the College Underdogs Podcast. I'm your host, Trey Smith. We got a lot to get to today. We've got some college hoops, leading with the battle for Atlantis. We're going to talk about the upcoming slate of games in the American Athletic Conference. We're going to talk about the bowl eligibility situation for the AAC, and then we're going to get into this New Year's 6 race to New Year's 6, I should say, because things just got a lot more interesting with the latest CFP ranking release last night. Before we get into it all, if you're watching on YouTube, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment at the end, share it with a friend. And if you're listening on one of the streaming platforms, please leave a 5-star rating and a positive review. And if you're watching on YouTube, you see the new graphic overlay featured, presented by, part of the BLEAV Network. College Underdogs Podcast is officially part of the BLEAV Network. I've been announcing that. We're continuing to make steps towards fully integrating that partnership. And as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube right now, I'm right here in the frame of the official BLEAV overlay. So anyways, let's get into it. All right, I want to start with some college hoops. The battle for Atlantis tips off today. Got Memphis and Michigan at 4 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully I'll have this up before then. I usually do. So anyways, that's getting ready to happen. Here's what I'm curious about in that game. And I'm excited because I should be able to actually sit and watch. I haven't been able to just sit and watch a lot of basketball here lately, just with all the football stuff that's going on. I've been watching casually, but I'm hoping to really be able to sit and take that game in because Michigan is coming off a pretty upsetting loss to Long Beach State, who put a 90-piece on them. Memphis has dropped 90-plus twice this season in 3 games. And then the game where they didn't put up 90, they put up 70 in, I think, a 15-point win over Mizzou. And they were really flat in the first half of that game, and it was on the road. So I'm just curious, how does this Michigan defense, what is their game plan against Memphis's offense? Okay, Memphis's offense has a lot of firepower. They've got a lot of experience. And I'm just curious to see if this game turns into a track meet. I like Memphis to win. I like them to advance. As I've been saying about this tournament, I would love to get a Memphis-Arkansas matchup just for good old time's sake. I think if Memphis goes 2-1 in this tournament and they lead with a win over Michigan, you have to put them in the top 25. You have to. But I thought they were for sure a shoe-in this past week, and it didn't happen. But I like Memphis. You know, I think they could win the battle for Atlantis, but I think if they go 2-1, they get in the top 25. Also on the docket today, we've got Temple and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is undefeated, an SEC team. Good matchup for Temple. Temple coming off a disappointing loss to, I think, Columbia. It was on Saturday. I was wrapped up in a lot of football on Saturday, so I just saw the score. I didn't really get to take that game in, but here's what I'm looking for in that. How does Temple respond? Can they bounce back and get back to how I felt like they were playing to open the season? You know, early on, you know, you got a new coach, you're establishing your identity, you're finding who you are. What a great opportunity against an undefeated SEC Ole Miss team coached by Chris Beard. SMU, Wisconsin tonight. SMU coming off a win over West Virginia. I think, is it the Fort Myers tip-off they're in? This is second round of that against Wisconsin. You know, SMU could put together a couple back-to-back wins that could really help their resume come March, especially if they can play well in conference play. I mean, they have to play well in conference play. But, yeah. And then, of course, the late game, 11:30 p.m. Central Time. Is that right? Is Tulane and Cal. Tulane just lost a close one to Bradley on Monday night. I like them in this game against Cal. And I like this Tulane basketball team, man. You know, with Ron Hunter, you look at what he did at Georgia State in around this time. I think this is his 5th or 6th year with Tulane. Around that time frame with Georgia State was when, they had that tournament run led by his son, RJ. I think they upset, was it Baylor in the first round? So I've really got got my eyes on Tulane hoops, not just Tulane football, but Tulane hoops this year to possibly make some noise. And who knows, maybe get a tourney bid. So that's kind of the quick hoops update. My pick'em for this weekend. I'm going to go ahead and do my pick'em. And just so everyone knows, I will not be doing a show tomorrow for Thanksgiving. I've got too much family stuff happening. Hopefully you are too. We'll be watching some football, some NFL football. My wife is from Michigan. I'm a lifelong Cowboys fan, so we've got, the Lions, Cowboys back-to-back thing is pretty big for us, pretty cool for us. So we'll be doing all that. So I'll go ahead and plug that. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We will not have a show tomorrow, but I will have a special live stream on Friday, which I will tell you about more at the end of the show. But let's keep it rolling. So for my pick'ems this week, all right, I don't even know what week we're in. We're in the last weekend of the season, right? Is it week 12, week 13? So last regular season pick'em. Starting off Friday, Tulane and UTSA. Tulane is favored 3.5. I'm going to take UTSA and the points simply because I think the outcome of this game comes down to a field goal. I'm not picking who wins. This was too close to call for me. I think this is going to be a dogfight. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. And I think whoever wins by a field goal. So that 3.5-point spread, I'm taking the points. FAU and Rice. I'm going Rice -4. Rice is playing for postseason. FAU is not. So if Rice wins, they're bowl eligible. And I'm going to take them -4. They've got a lot more to play for as long as they're healthy. This would be a great first season in the American Athletic Conference to see Rice get bowl eligibility. I was hoping this game would be a battle of 2 5 and 6 teams, and the winner got the bowl eligibility. It's not. I'm taking Rice -4. Next on my list, as far as my pick'ems go, Charlotte and USF. USF is favored 6. I'm going to take USF and the points again. USF is playing for that bowl bid. I told you several weeks ago, back when USF was coming off that devastating loss to FAU, and the fan base was kind of took a lot of the steam, a lot of the air out of the fan base. I said, well, hold on, because you've got 3 very good opportunities to get your bowl bid. It was UConn, Temple, and Charlotte. They took care of business with UConn, took care of business with Temple, and I believe they're going to take care of business with Charlotte, and USF is going to get bowl eligibility, and I'm taking them -6. And then finally, for my pick'ems, you got SMU Navy. SMU is favored 18. This game scares me a little bit for the sake of the conference because this is the type of game that Navy will come in and wreck a season. SMU, it got a little more tricky after last night, but they have a pretty good path to a New Year's 6 bid. And man, it's one of those games that like Navy just historically will come in and wreck a season. Now, I still think SMU wins the game. I don't think they cover the 18 points. So I'm going to take Navy +18. Don't think they have enough to upset SMU, but I do think it's a closer game than what we might be expecting. I do project SMU to win, get their spot in the AAC championship, playing against the winner of UTSA Tulane. So those are my pick'ems, and we'll kind of flow from that into bowl eligibility. Obviously, we got Tulane, SMU, UTSA, and Memphis. Those 4 teams already bowl eligible. I said earlier this month that a really good case scenario for the American Athletic Conference in a season where it's sort of a rebuilding year, if they could get 7 bids plus the New Year's 6, I would consider that a win, okay? And in order for that to happen, Rice needs to win, USF needs to win, and then we need Navy to win one of these last 2, preferably against Army. Right? I don't want Navy to beat SMU because that's going to throw off the AAC shot at that New Year's 6. So We need Navy to beat Army, and I think you'll have 3 6-6 bowl eligible teams to go along with the 4 already bowl eligible teams, and then hopefully out of those 7, one of those top 3 ends up in the New Year's 6. Speaking of New Year's 6, let's take a look at that. In case you missed it, last night, Liberty made its way in to the CFP top 25. Tulane, I think, was ranked 23. Liberty was ranked 25. What does that mean? That means that things just got a little bit tricky for teams in the American Conference not named Tulane. I still hold to that if Tulane wins, they are in. If Tulane beats UTSA and then goes on to beat what will likely be SMU in the conference championship, they're in. If you look at the CFP rankings historically, you don't really ever see a team leapfrog another team unless that team loses. So even if Liberty wins out and goes 13-0, based off how the CFP rankings have worked historically, we're not going to see them leapfrog a one-loss Tulane team, especially when you consider that Tulane's loss was to Ole Miss and they played with their backup quarterback. Those are things the committee takes into consideration. However, this is going to throw off UTSA and possibly SMU's path to the New Year's 6. So Tulane, as far as I'm concerned, if they win, they're in. And I've said it already on the show, but like Tulane is in position to possibly make history in being the first team from a group of 5 conference to win back-to-back New Year's 6 bids, or even BCS, going back to that era, right? If you've been listening and follow along for a while now, you know I've shared, TCU as a member of the Mountain West went back-to-back, went to Fiesta, Rose Bowl, won the Rose Bowl, lost the Fiesta. Boise's won 2, but they never went back-to-back. I think they won in 07 and 09 in I think it was both Fiesta Bowls, actually. The one against OU and then the matchup with TCU, or maybe 2010, 29. Yeah, maybe it was 2010. I don't remember the years, but and then the only other back-to-back was UCF in the CFP era, won it in 17 against Auburn, lost to LSU in 18. So Tulane, coming off their 2022 New Year's 6 win over USC, has a chance to make history by not just going to back-to-back New Year's 6 bids or BCS, if you want to use that era's terminology, but win back-to-back. So they've got a lot that they're playing for. And just with the sort of landscape of realignment that we're living in right now with college football, college athletics in general, Tulane winning back-to-back CFP or New Year's 6 bowls, I think sends a strong message to conferences that are looking to realign, looking to expand, especially when you consider the conversation we had yesterday on here regarding the court case of the House versus the NCAA. I mean, you got Tulane. They're in a great location. They've got the AAU designation. Their football team now has really turned a corner. Historically has not been good. Okay, but if they can show that last year, or they've shown, I feel like they've shown last year wasn't just a flash in the pan, but that they've actually turned a corner. And I think more than the historical milestone of winning back-to-back New Year's 6 bowls for Tulane, there's a much larger game at play as far as getting to that next, the Power 5 level, if you will, or Power 4, or whatever it's going to be moving forward, right? Look at UCF, you look at Cincy, you look at TCU, part of those teams' paths to getting to the Power 5 level was playing in multiple New Year's 6 bowls. So, or in TCU's case, BCS bowls. So, they win, they're in, but this Liberty thing, man, 11-0, ranked 25. This is where I'm struggling now. Does a 2-loss SMU get in over a 13-0 Liberty? All right, I want to shout out, I think it's Michael Wall on here in the comments. He stayed pretty consistent that if Liberty finishes undefeated, I don't want to misrepresent what he said, but I think he thinks they would leapfrog Tulane even. I don't think so on that. But he has said that if Liberty finishes out undefeated, they're going to get that New Year's 6 bid. I don't know what his thoughts are in regards to Tulane or not, but shout out to him because I've been feeling all along that SMU and even UTSA with 3 losses could get the bid possibly over an undefeated Liberty just on strength of schedule. However, Liberty's now in the rankings, and as I just said, you don't see teams get leapfrogged unless they lose. Now, where there could be an exception to this is if SMU matches up with Tulane in the conference championship, and Tulane is the highest ranked G5 team, SMU beats them, that might be enough. The problem with that is the fact that Tulane is only ranked a couple slots higher than Liberty. I figured Tulane would be in the 16 to 19 ranking by this point in the season if they kept winning. Apparently, according to the committee, though, I guess these close wins that they've had along the way have not been enough to move the needle to put them higher in the rankings. Now, if they beat UTSA, does that jump? Do they jump a little bit higher? I just feel like they need to be somewhere in that top 20, somewhere between 15 and 19 to make a 2-loss conference champion SMU sort of justifiable to leapfrog Liberty in the event Liberty wins out. And then UTSA, I think their only hope at this point is for Liberty to lose. And for SMU, if you want to hedge your bets, you need Liberty to go ahead and lose. I don't think Liberty's going to lose. However, someone pointed out in the comments, I think 2 days ago on the show, that they have their rematch with New Mexico State. New Mexico State, I think they're 9-2, 8-2, 8-3. They're 9-2 or 8-3. They lost, I think, 31-17 to Liberty earlier in the season, but they're coming off an absolute drubbing of Auburn. I mean, I don't know what happened there. I didn't see that game, but they beat the brakes off of Auburn last week. If they can carry that momentum and get a win against, are they playing Rich Rodriguez this week? Jacksonville State? Could they go in and upset Liberty? Right? The old adage is it's hard to beat a team twice in the same season. This would be their second matchup. So as a fan or as an advocate for the American Athletic Conference, you're a New Mexico State fan right now. Unless you're Tulane. I don't think Tulane has to worry about anything. If they just win, they're not going to get leapfrogged. But if you're SMU, a UTSA fan, you might need them to go ahead and lose. Or if you're SMU, you need Tulane to jump in next week's CFP rankings before that conference championship game. But if it comes down to SMU and UTSA in the conference championship, I think the only way the winner of that game gets to New Year's 6 is if Liberty loses. So let me know your thoughts given how the CFP rankings played out yesterday or last night. How do you think this is going to play out? Do you agree that Tulane just needs to win and they're in? What is the path for UTSA and SMU? Can SMU get in even over an undefeated Liberty? Or at this point, if you're a UTSA or SMU fan, you need Liberty to go ahead and lose. Will Liberty lose? There's some smoke right now around their coach. There was smoke around him to Mississippi State. There was smoke around him now to Michigan State. Could that come into play? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Happy Thanksgiving, as I said at the top. Oh, and before I forget, I am going to do a live stream Friday, live stream watch party for Tulane UTSA. So if you're just at the house, you're watching some football, hop on your YouTube and let's watch together. I haven't done one of these in a while. In fact, I did one, I think week 0 for Notre Dame and Navy. We had a lot of fun. We're on here for multiple hours, but follow me on Twitter at I'm Trey Smith. I will put some information up there. Likely what I'll do is be on here about 15 minutes before kickoff, which I think will be 2:15 Central Time. And yeah, man, we'll have us a nice, good old-fashioned play-by-play watch party, and we'll see how it plays out. At least who one of the representatives in the American Athletic Championship game will be. That is probably the biggest game of the season. And yeah, so happy Thanksgiving. I'll see y'all Friday, those of you that choose to tune into the live stream. Otherwise, if you're just going to wait for the next podcast episode, that'll be next Monday. And happy Thanksgiving to you and yours for like the 4th time now. That's it for me today. Trey Smith signing off.